right, so for assignment number 2, here is what we're going to do. You need to go ahead and go to onshape.com, log into your Onshape account. I'm going to hit sign in. My stuff is already saved because I stay logged into Chrome, so I never have to remember passwords. I recommend you guys do the same thing. And we're going to retrieve our documents. We are going to create a new document today. And we are going to name this document Light Switch Cover. Because you are going to create a cover for a light switch using Onshape. Now, the first thing we'd have to think about is, what is the size of a light switch cover? And I do not know. So we have a couple ways to figure this out. Number one, we go unscrew the light switch covers and measure them. I don't want to do that because that is way too much work. So what we're going to do instead is go to Google, go light switch cover dimensions. And voila. Look, everyone, someone did the work for us, which is the important thing. And I'm going to use this because it gives us nice, easy to view options. So we're going to use this as our template for the light switch cover. It's going to give us the height. It's going to give us the distance the screws are apart. Oh, but this is one of those weird, funky ones, isn't it? You guys probably want like a normal light switch cover, don't you? Darn it. Let's try it again. Light switch cover dimensions. Because what you'll need to know is how big the part for the switch is, and then you'll also need the distance from the holes of the light switch cover. Here we go. This is a good one. This is a standard light switch cover. So let's try this again. Image a new tab. So this is going to be our template we use, which is a 2 3/4 inch by 4.5 inch light switch cover. So we're going to go back to Onshape. I'm going to create a new sketch. I'm going to click on the sketch plane, and I'm going to start with a center point rectangle, so I can go over the origin here, click and let go, and then click again. And I said 2 3/4, so that would be 2.75, because the box is selected down there, and then 4.5, so 4.5. Voila. I'm zooming, that's why the zoom sign was up. Not zooming, but I'm actually screen recording. I am missing one, but I'll get to it. I'm in the midst of my screen recording. Is this the one who sits there? I don't know all their names yet. Mohammed. Thank you. A for the day. All right. So when you first draw the box and you let go, it automatically puts a box around that bottom one right there. So you just type in. And then you hit enter, and it will move it to the next one. No, because you're clicking. Don't click on anything. Because when your tool is selected, every time you click, you're drawing a new one. So you don't want to do that. When the box is around the number, it means it's already good to go. So that's a start. We are not done yet, though, with this sketch, because we need to put in everything. We need where the screw holes are going to be, and we need the spot where the light switch itself will actually poke through. So I'm going to go back, and this is a 1 inch by a 3/8 of an inch rectangle that goes in the middle. So I'm going to take my center point tool, and you'll see why I did center point this time, because now I know exactly where the center is, and I don't have to try to get that second rectangle perfectly lined up. So this one is 3/8 of an inch. Do you guys know the decimal for 3/8 of an inch? Cool, because guess what? If I just go 3 divided by 8 into that dimension box, it's going to automatically do it for me. So now I have the center switch plate there. And then now we need the circles. The circles are 3/16 of an inch, so we need 2 of them. So we're going to go back to this. We're going to draw a center point circle. Now notice when I get it so it's exactly lined up over the center, the center point turns yellow, and then I get a little sign there that shows that it's parallel. So what that one line is next to it. So I can do that exactly. I can click, let it go, click anywhere again, and I'm going to call, this one was 3/16. So again, instead of trying to figure out the decimal, I can just go 3 divided by 16. Voila. Go down here. Make sure it is centered, which it is. And I'm going to do another 3 divided by 16. Are we done? Answer is no, because we have to make sure they are spaced properly apart. So that is 2 3/8 of an inch. To use this is a brand new tool we're going to learn. It's called the dimension tool. When you start getting into really fancy things, you need to use the dimension tool a lot. It is this one right here. You can also hit the letter D as a shortcut. I'm going to click on the center of the first circle, and then the center of the bottom circle. Let go, drag out, and it shows me how far apart they are right now. I just click, and I can type in there. And it's at 2 3/8 of an inch. So that'd be 2 space 3 divided by 8. Oh, it doesn't let us. So we actually have to know the decimal this time. Anybody know the decimal for 2 3/8 of an inch? No? It is 2.375. Now what's the problem there? One is closer than the other. So we have to use our dimension tool again, because these are locked now, exactly 2.375 inches apart. So we're going to take the center of this circle, click the center of our light switch plate, and drag it out. And we need that number to be exactly half of this number right here. So who has a calculator that can tell us half of 2.375? $1.1875. Back to here, 1.1875. So we got a lot of dimensions, but now that is exactly sketched perfectly. And I can hit the check mark. And I have the start of a perfect light switch plate. What we're going to need next is to extrude it. I'm going to click my extrude tool. I'm going to click on the shape. And you notice, because I did it all as one shape, it's already taking those holes for the screws and for the light switch itself already into account. So that's why in something like this, it's great to do it as just one shape, one sketch. A light switch plate is maybe 1/4 of an inch, probably not even. So I'm going to just start with 0.25, which did not, or I wasn't selected, 0.25. Voila, a light switch plate. Now, would I be able to mount this to a wall yet? What? I would not. Why would I not be able to mount this to a wall? No, like if I print, I'm sorry, good point. If I 3D printed this, which I will 3D print these for you if you feel like it. If I 3D print this, would it work? Probably not. Because if you notice, if you ever bought a light switch plate, which I don't know why you would, you're, mostly 8th graders, the back of it is actually kind of indented in a little bit, otherwise it would stick out from the wall too much. So we're actually going to have to do another sketch. Click on this plane. I'm going to do my center point rectangle again. And I am going to just click and draw a shape. Call it good. I'm going to use my dimension tool. I'm going to make the top about 0.125. Oh no, it doesn't like my, hold up 1 second. There we go. We're going to go 0.125 from the bottom, which it's already there. We're going to go 0.125 from the sides. And voila. Now I can extrude that as a remove. Now I don't want to go all the way through, otherwise I would just have a very skinny little picture frame. We extruded it 0.25. So instead I'm going to do 0.125. See what that looks like. The check mark. So now, see how it's kind of nested in. So that's going to allow it to stick to the wall a little better. Now, most light switch plates also don't have very sharp, pointy corners, because when you reach in the dark for the light switch and drag your hand over it, it's going to slice it up really nicely. So we're going to use a brand new tool, which is up on the top here. It is going to be this one that looks like a rounded corner. That is called a fillet. Not a fillet. Fillet is spelled differently. This is a fillet. And we are going to click on the top surface. And notice how it kind of rounds the corners. You can play with the arrow to change the number of how rounded you want it to be. I'm going to go to about that. Now I have rounded corners that are not going to slice my hands off, which is going to be very lovely. And we have a light switch plate. Does this look like a cool light switch plate? It looks like a normal, boring light switch plate, and we don't come here to make boring, normal things. So I'm going to try something else here. Ready? I'm going to go onto the interwebs. I'm going to find a new picture. We're going to go Minnesota. No, that's not Minnesota. Minnesota outline or silhouette. I'm going to right click and I am going to save this image. It's in my downloads. I'm going to come back here and I am going to make a new sketch on the surface here. Now this spot where there's a little document that looks like DXF, you're going to click the down arrow. You're going to insert an image. I'm going to put that image here. Select an imported image. So we're going to go, I have no files available. It also isn't showing me the upload spot. I hate it when it does that. I have to zoom out. There we go. Import. The downloads, it's that image I just saved. It's uploading. Click on it. I'm going to add the shape of Minnesota. Right there. What this will allow me to do is use a new tool called the spline tool. which is just like a real fancy connect the dots. And I'm going to trace the outline of Minnesota. Now, you guys do not have to do Minnesota. You can add any lovely picture. I'm also going to do a very terrible job of it right now just to get it done. No, I'm not going to disrespect Minnesota that much. I would cut Wisconsin or Iowa in half, but definitely Iowa. Like, this is easily the best Minnesota drawing I've ever made. It's going to look so perfect. Highlight over the end. Anytime you use the spline tool, you have to make sure you start and stop at the same dot. It highlights like that. And I now have a perfect Minnesota shape, which I can then do my extrude. And I can extrude it out. Maybe not that far. That would be kind of crazy. Times 0.1. And then hit OK. Now I have the outline of Minnesota. Which again, if I did that, might slice my fingers up. So maybe I'll do a little fillet on that too to not murder my fingers. This is going to have to be a super tiny fillet, otherwise it's not going to register at all because it's such a small. Got rounded a little bit. Hopefully won't murder my hands up. So follow the directions here to make a light switch plate. Add an image to customize it a little bit for yourself. If you want to do a different light switch plate because you have fancier ones at your house, by all means look up the dimensions and do that as well. If you want this printed, your best bet is to right click where it says Part Studio, go to Export. You're going to name it your name and then light switch. Make sure it's STL, binary, has to be millimeters. Even though we measured everything in inches, it has to be millimeters. And then download. And you're going to take that downloaded file and put it on Schoology for me. And that is also how you will get graded on this assignment. Let me know if you have any questions. As always, please don't forget to like and subscribe.